rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40 who focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 27 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. Today I want to talk about accomplishments. And I don't mean like about bragging about accomplishments, but I mean about recognizing accomplishments and why it's really important that we spend time acknowledging an accomplishment, celebrating an accomplishment, even a little bit of bragging, I guess, is all right too. And if you look around Facebook and stuff, you'll see a ton of people celebrating, accomplishments. Now, sometimes the accomplishment, they're celebrating is like, my favorite is when I see guys and girls post about, it's all about the grind and that shit. And really, they're celebrating the fact that they fucking got to work on time, that kind of thing. I mean, at the end of the day, that's nothing to be grinding about. That should be just, hey, I'm an adult, and as part of adulting, I get to work on time. But anyway, some people set their standards super low, and then it's really easy to get accomplishments too. So we'll talk a bit about, the size of the accomplishment and how that varies. And the bigger the accomplishment, I think the bigger the celebration as well. But at the same time, we work really hard on setting goals and on working towards things. And then, when we accomplish it, if we accomplish it, that's another factor as well. But when we accomplish things, sometimes we don't give it enough credit and we don't realize just how important it is. And the thing to remember is that when we're starting back and we're rebuilding and things, we're pretty beat up. We don't feel too good about ourselves. We don't feel too good about what we've done. In fact, our mindset is usually busy thinking about everything that we're doing wrong or have done wrong and will do wrong in our lives. So we sort of get into that, pity party thing going on. And then so we got to get our head clear of that and change that mindset. But celebrating your accomplishments, also affects your physiology and your psychology. There's chemical releases that happen, endorphins, that make you feel fantastic when you do sit back and really take a minute to soak in what you've done and stuff, right? And obviously, the bigger the accomplishment, the bigger the rush, the bigger the endorphin release, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, you're also reinforcing that mechanism in your body to seek out what's the next challenge or goal or vision, so that you can also get to the rush of celebrating the accomplishment, right? So that's super, super important. When we're, like I said earlier, when we're starting back, I don't like to put a lot of pressure on guys coming into the gym and stuff. You've heard me say it before. Let's just focus on the first 30 days and get you in consistently and then celebrate that, because that's a huge difference. I'll often say when someone comes in and they're a couple weeks in, and you can see they're working out bigger workouts and they're feeling better. You can just see it. They walk different. They talk different. The body, the physiology, the body's changing, how they stand, how they hold themselves. And then, they'll come in and maybe they'll have that workout that wasn't as high expectation or as high as the accomplishment levels they were expecting. And then I always like to remind them, what was that like 2 weeks ago, though? Because 2.5 weeks ago, you were glued to the couch watching Netflix, right? So you have to have that reference point and that point that you can honestly sit there and appreciate that, just coming in and training, for 2 weeks is a huge accomplishment when you're starting. Now, when you're a year in, coming in and getting basic workouts in, that's not really an accomplishment. That's maintaining, the positive, things that we want to do and tasks, maintaining that momentum like we talked about earlier. That's super important to maintain that. But at the end of the day, and I think that's where we see a lot of guys will start and stop things because, they kind of get that romance of, hey, here I am, I'm starting again. I'm going to, back on the wagon. I'm doing this. I'm focusing on that. It's all exciting for the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. And then the glow of that starts to wear off, right? And I think part of that issue is that, they didn't excel, looking at the accomplishment is great, but they didn't set themselves up for their bigger thing, a bigger why, to keep that whole cycle going. And I think that's really, really important. And it's work, right? That's the other thing too, is that it is work. And a lot of guys don't, get intimidated by that. And, I think that's because the mindset's wrong. And I think going back to accomplishing things, building on the one thing, then adding the other is how you start to really build that toughness and you get excited about it, right? This morning, I was working out with my training partner, Phil, and I didn't make the workout last Monday. My alarm got screwed up and just that kind of issue. And it sounds like an excuse, and it is an excuse, but that's what happened. But I'll tell you, it bothered me for the rest of the week. So I said this weekend, Sunday before I went to bed last night, I made sure to set my phone alarm and my night table alarm. So there was no way that I wasn't going to get up in time and make it for the workout because I really didn't like that feeling I had all last week. And it then affected everything. It affected my other workouts because I was feeling, shitty about it. And then it was affecting my nutrition. So at the end of the week, come yesterday, I look back in the week and it wasn't a great week. So I know it's all about, restarting, rebuilding, and taking that Monday and saying, all right, this Monday, my accomplishment's going to be just get your ass out of bed and get there. And you know what? When I got up this morning and jumped in the pool, and came back in, I got dressed and got to the gym for the workout, it was a mini accomplishment and it felt good. And again, it was big because the week before it wasn't a great week. So when you set that and you have those quick decisions we talked about and you take action, just those little things set up the day and create the momentum and just lead the way for better productivity, better sense of well-being. You just feel better about yourself. And then, that's Monday morning. So, let's get the rest of the day, let's get the rest of the week going and stuff, right? Well beyond, the typical Monday-itis a lot of people suffer from where they go to bed at night physically dreading Monday because they just don't like what they're doing. They don't like what's happening. They don't like themselves. And really comes down to that. So, to have that mindset switch that, hey, let's bring Monday on, let's get up, let's get going, compared to, oh my God, it's Monday, I can't believe the weekend's over already and stuff, that's a shitty place to be. And if you're in that place, you really need to start working on some mindset stuff and then making some changes not to do that anymore. Because at the end of the day, how we perceive things in our minds is really the most important thing. What's happening to us and how we process what's happening to us makes all the difference overall, right? So that's something that's super important. But when we do that, when we get those accomplishments and we build on bigger goals and tasks and bigger accomplishments and stuff, it, like I said earlier, it's a bit of a rush, but you know what? It becomes the habit. It becomes the norm, and that's exciting, and that's the shit you want to go after and stuff. So this week, whether you want to do a small one today, because you just heard this podcast this morning and figure something out to get a small accomplishment for today, something you've been putting off, but then pick something for the week, pick something for the month, right? And then, for the first cycle, do that. But then when you get through that first cycle, then do it again, something for the day, something for the week, and something for the month. But then let's go a little bit bigger. Let's go something for 3 months or 6 months. So maybe it's competing in something. Maybe it's signing up for something you want to be doing. You've been putting off, booking a trip, anything. Find something that's going to keep you motivated and keep you moving towards it so that when you have the tough days and the down days and you just don't fucking feel like it, there's some big pressures hanging over you that are super important. We talked about earlier how pressure is important. Without pressure, we get nothing done, and that's even worse. Put some good pressures on yourself. Set yourself up for some accomplishments and then celebrate the fuck out of that accomplishment and then move on to the next one, right? Don't be that guy that peaked in high school and that's all you fucking talk about either, right? That's pretty sad and lonely as well. Keep moving forward and keep getting those accomplishments going. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, guys. Listen, head on over and subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. I think we're up to 8 5-star reviews. We're approaching double digits. iTunes is being taken by storm. And it helps us out a lot, guys. It keeps us relevant. And again, if you need to get a hold of me for any reason, kurthaas@gmail.com, and I'll talk to you guys later.